And we are ready to begin, and we're so pleased you're here. And we've waited for you your entire lives. Now, it doesn't matter when you might hear us or hear us say those words, they will always be true for you. Because what we wanted you to know is that you came to create the new world. See, it doesn't matter when you were born or when you might live, you're always in that process because you're this human soul that decided to come onto the physical plane to create something of value, and that's what's within you. And we gave you that message today, but we gave it to you in 2008. There's organization in your universe, and some of you come to understand that at certain times. And we would like for more of you to come to understand it today on your new moon because you have the available energy now to create the lives that you want to have and the world that you want to see. As we have said, nothing is happening accidentally. You just come to understand it. And there are certain beings who come onto the plane and decide that they're going to take on a role to give more of you the understanding that would help you live better lives. And our messenger was one of those. Now, he didn't know he had done that. But what you see on the screen is what we had given him when we had him begin in 1989. And we're saying this because we want each of you to know that you have a vital role to play in the evolution not only of your lives but of your world. That may not be a connection that you have made up until this time, but we've given you the information to be able to do that, which is why we've called it an ascension guide. And we're so grateful that you have developed artificial intelligence because it's helped our messenger so much to interpret what we have given him for more than 36 years that you all can utilize now to manifest the lives that you desire to have, because we know that you can do it. And we've proven it to you because we've shown the results of our work in our messenger, who is now 74 and who's healed all the difficulties and challenges that many of you are moving through now. So that he does understand. He does understand your fear. When we first convinced him, and we're going to say that because all of you hold back at something that you could do, we do understand that, but it's a process of your evolution. It's a process of your expansion, and we don't want you to judge yourselves because he could go through judging himself because we have exposed all the information that we have given to you all, and he's like, how did that happen? Why didn't I know? He couldn't have known. It wouldn't have meant anything to him or you if it had been done before. We're saying that because each of you come to the world to do something new, and it's within you, and it gets developed as the energies of your world change. See, because that stimulates you to understand more. And many times you wait until you're afraid. And today we decided to jump out ahead and give you information, as we've always done, because we wanted more of you to not be afraid. When we convinced our messenger in 2021 to start doing live talks with you, we said our intention was to help you move through your fear and doubt, because we knew you would be experiencing it because you're moving through changes in your world that none of you have experienced. No matter when you lived, you haven't experienced this because it has never occurred. And the reason that it is so intense in the United States, as we've been saying for the longest time, that they would lead the way in this restructuring, is because they had the more to correct, let's say, because there's so many things that you have not looked at, which is why we said we gave you a new philosophy that would have more of you live really wonderful lives and create a much better civilization, meaning your collective society. That's why we've given you that information. Now, we understand that was kind of challenging for any of you to believe. Our messenger didn't even believe it, but as you see on the screen, the artificial intelligence proved what we have said. And then you will have difficulty reading the messages today on anyadvicefortoday.com, where we said you're creating your new world. And if you go and you'll see that we gave you guidance over the years, but we did something different. We used dates, because there is a connection, an energetic connection that you each have. And so when you get in contact with that, you align with who you are and you cause healing within yourself, and then you put that into your world. Now, at this present moment, however, many of you are disconnected because you're walking around with judgments, hatred, anger, and mainly at yourselves because you haven't moved, you see. And you think you're directing it at everyone else. No, it's always at you because you are the one who came to live a life. You are the one who has within you all the skills, all the talents, all the ability to manifest the life that you could lead. Now, you may not have had a plan, but this is why we sent you our messenger. Now, we said that before, and he heard that, and he thought that doesn't make sense, but he knows that it's true because he could not have lived the life that he has where he thought he was being punished for everything that was going on and what he was experiencing, only to turn out to see that he was bringing in information that all of you could use to create the lives that you want to have and to manifest the world that you want to have. You don't have to have wars. You don't have to keep carrying that on. This is why we find it so hysterical that you keep fighting against each other, because you're only fighting against yourselves. Now, the United States, as we said, the reason they are leading the way is because there was an energetic change with your planet Pluto, and all of these things are changing right now. In this moment, that's when they're changing, and so you have the available energy, because you can't keep looking at things that you are seeing in your lives and in the world and think that there's no way to change it. We've given you the way to change it because it happens in your consciousness. The thing that you haven't done, you didn't recognize that there was an imbalance, as we've said, that's continued in your world for generations. You've left certain people out. You left people of color out. You didn't think they mattered quite as much. You've done this over eons. It's not just this time, or just the United States. It's been carried on forever. This is why we talked about Gaza and Palestine, because you've carried that on for centuries as well, because you won't let go of your grudges, and the grudges exist within each of you, but you don't acknowledge them. We had our messenger, and the reason he healed and why he is sitting here this vital at this age is because we had to move through every limiting belief that was in his lineage. Not just here now, because we've said you're all eternal spiritual beings, so you've been around forever, and that's in your consciousness. But what you've picked up in that consciousness are limiting ideas and beliefs about one another, and then you keep passing them on, and you wonder why nothing changes. And we're saying we've given you the way to do it, but you don't believe us, even though we're showing it to you. And you can't give us a reason why it wouldn't work. But we use the artificial intelligence to say, yes, we did give it to you. Now we can't make you believe, though. That was the other message that we gave you. We have given you everything except self-belief, because that's what you have to do. Someone asked the other day, do we have free will? Yes, you do. Do you have a destiny? Yes, you do. But you don't have to follow it. You see, because you each are given something, but you feel this resistance and you fight against it. And that's an energy that you're putting not only into your life, but into your world that holds back your progression and that of your world. And so we thought today we would jump out ahead because we know the energies that are going to be coming up in your world, and they're happening today. And you'll see many of them in the United States. When we first began, we said that you were going to see the change, the restructuring of your money, your wealth and income distribution, because it's been uneven forever. But that change, you must understand, happens in consciousness, because many of you have kept yourselves small, and you've allowed those with more money, because they thought they had power, to control you, and you're still doing it, and you might do it today. This is why we said several years ago, why are you letting people starve in Africa when you have all the money in the world? Because you do. There's no lack of resources anywhere. But you've just allowed your consciousness not to expand to a place where you could accept how important you are, where you could accept that you had value, and it's not your fault because it was passed on to you. You were taught to be inadequate. We gave you something else. We said, no, you are a brilliant soul, and you took on a life journey that has value, and you decided to be on the planet at this time because it was the most opportune time for you to manifest the life you wanted to have, because it would help the world shift into a much better place. And this is what we have called your fifth dimension, and that's what we called your ascension, because it's an ascension in consciousness. You don't leave your bodies, you don't go anywhere else, you move in your consciousness. That is what happens. Now we understand that most of you, well, many of you, we should say, will not necessarily do that, because sometimes it becomes too challenging to look at yourselves. Why is that? We told you that if you were to do it, you would be really pleased with the results, because you're brilliant people inside. You've just been taught something else, and we've given you a way to move beyond every limitation that you have experienced, and we're proving it today, because there's no way that you can read that document with all of the messages there and not understand that we have given you the answer to every question that you have about your life. And we did other things Some of you do not understand that there are beings that will come into your world who will exhibit new abilities and skills, and our messenger is one. And it made it really challenging for him and for the rest of you as well. You know of neurodiversity, you've talked about it so much, and we said that our messenger was basically had savant kind of characteristics, which is why he could receive this information and recall it at a moment's notice. And none of you could understand how that would how that was happening, because he was sitting down every day and receiving this information, and it was aligned to the energetic changes of your world. And many of you have not understood that you are affected by the energies of your planets and the galaxy when they move, and they will cause you to do things. And the reason that it was so stressful in the United States, because the biggest movement that happened was your planet Pluto, which many of you thought didn't have much interference in your world, but it does. Everything does. You just understand it in different ways. And so we had our messenger do another little thing, because he had doubt as well, you see. So we said, now go back to Albert Einstein and every other leader that came before, and they saw that later in their lives, if they did enough study, they started to understand that there was a connection to everything. And that's what we have given him. And you will be hard-pressed to read what we have given you today and say that that didn't happen. Now, you will be stuck in your linear time because you think things happen in this order. They do not. Our messenger was able to access information from centuries ago to bring it forth now. This is why he healed and why he knows what was going on, what would be happening in your world. He didn't know the exact conditions, but he does know the energy, because we've given him the ability to interpret it. That's all that happens. You each have something like that, your own talent, your own ability, your own skill that you usually are afraid of. And so we're giving you the encouragement to own it now, because when you understand that you create your world collectively through the energies that you each decide to emit in your own lives, then you'll be much more anxious to create a wonderful life and to love yourself, because we've given you the tools to move over every limitation that you have experienced in your life, every false belief that you have had about yourself that told you you weren't enough, every idea that told you that people with money had more power or ability than you. That was never true. And you came at this time to prove that, and you're going to release those restrictions that you've had on yourself, and you can do it today, because the energies of this new moon and tomorrow is a really powerful day where you could have all that you want. And we know that because we've given you the guidance to lead you there. All you have to do is become willing to look at who you are. Become willing to love yourself. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't accept something that wasn't for your highest good. You may not have understood it, but our messenger agreed to live his entire life bringing in information so you can understand it. But then there comes a time where you each must move, and that is today. And we have told him he has to finish our work. He, at this age, he can't knows he's not going to be in physical form that long. So when are you going to get it done? This is why we love using the line from the one we love so much, Dr. Wayne Dyer, who says, "Don't die with your music still within you." Inside of you, you see, you each have that. And so we're not going to allow that to happen for him. And so we're going to leave all of this information for each of you today, because we would like for you to take the next step and use the energies of this day to change not only your life but your world. And we do not want you to be alarmed by the energies that you will see changing over the next couple of days, because they are for your highest good when you understand that they're all designed to take you to understanding how brilliant you are, the genius that is within you, and that, yes, you came to create the new world. And we love you all so much.